Okay, so we're going to talk about endothermic and exothermic reactions. Just very briefly, you need to know the difference between the two. And we talked in class about endo, meaning in. Endothermic. Okay, so endo means in, thermic means heat. Okay, so that means heat goes in. An example of a reaction we did in class when we mixed the baking soda with the vinegar. And I don't know if you guys remember, we took the temperature of the vinegar before and after. And we noticed that after the reaction, the actual solution had a lower temperature. So the lower temperature shows that it's an endothermic reaction because there was heat given into the reaction. And the heat didn't come from an outside source. We didn't add a flame or anything to it. What we did was the reaction actually spontaneously took the heat from within the vinegar, which is why it cooled off. The next thing that you need to know is exothermic, and exo means out, and thermic, heat, so heat goes out. And we need to remember, we did this in class when we put the zinc into the hydrochloric acid, and we actually felt on our hand, if you guys remember, we put the test tube on our hand, and we felt that the test tube warmed up as the zinc reacted with the hydrochloric acid. So in this case, heat was released from the test tube, so that would be an example of an exothermic reaction when heat is released. So endothermic is when heat is given, and sometimes we actually have to heat solutions up in order for reactions to take place, which is very common in chemistry. What you'll do is you'll provide a heat source, like a heat plate, and it will heat the solution to help the reaction to occur. And the reason that heat helps reactions to occur is if you look at the solution on a molecular basis, you look at the little molecules that are in it. What happens when you provide heat is the molecules start moving around really quickly. And when they move around really quickly, they bump into each other. And when they bump into each other, they have a propensity to form bonds or share electrons. And that's what happens. They give each other their electrons. And if you guys remember, when we're talking about giving electrons, we have to remember valence shells. And my favorite example is oxygen with 6 electrons, and it's got 2 empty seats, and if it's heated up, hydrogen will come into the area of oxygen because the hydrogen atoms are heated up. They're going to move much more quickly. That's what happens when we heat up atoms. They move fast. And so what happens is it comes in contact with the oxygen and says, hey, I've got an electron and oxygen needs one, so I can share one here, and I can make oxygen happy and I can be happy, and then they form water. So heat is important in the formation of molecules because it increases the speed that the atoms travel at and increases the chances of them colliding or coming in contact with one another, so they can make bonds.